In rural Ohio, there is an old bridge locals refuse to cross after dark. No signs explain the fear, yet every family knows the rule. After midnight, engines fail, voices whisper, and shadows wait. This is the bridge everyone warns you about at night, forever in Ohio folklore today still. The story begins decades ago, when this bridge was still considered a shortcut rather than a warning. Built over a narrow ravine surrounded by thick woods, it connected two farming towns and saved nearly 20 minutes of travel. During the day, it looked ordinary: aged concrete, rusted railings, and a single street light that rarely worked. But at night, the air around it felt heavier, as if sound itself was swallowed before it could travel. Locals say the legend started after a tragic accident in the late 1940s, when a family returning home after a church gathering never made it across. Their car was found below the bridge days later, crushed and empty, with no bodies ever recovered. Official reports labeled it an accident, yet strange details were quietly ignored: tire marks that stopped mid-bridge, doors found unlocked, and witnesses who claimed they heard screaming long after the crash should have ended. Over time, more stories surfaced. Drivers reported engines stalling at the center of the bridge, radios filling with static, and the overwhelming feeling that someone was sitting in the back seat. Farmers traveling before dawn swore they saw figures standing at the far end, unmoving, waiting. What made the legend spread faster was consistency. People who had never spoken to each other described the same experiences in the same places. Eventually, parents began warning their children with a simple rule: cross it only in daylight, never stop, and never look back if you hear your name. The bridge stopped being just a structure and became something else entirely, a boundary between the safe and the unknown, where curiosity turned into regret, and one mistake was said to follow you home forever. Over the decades, the bridge in rural Ohio grew into a legend whispered by locals, a place where nightfall meant danger and daylight offered a false sense of security. People who traveled its narrow, cracked concrete expanse after sunset reported experiences so consistent it was impossible to dismiss them as coincidence. A teenage couple driving home from a football game in the 1970s swore the engine died halfway across, the radio filling with the chilling, unintelligible static that sounded almost like whispers. Panicked, they tried to restart the car, but it would not budge. The girl, terrified, glanced out the rearview mirror and saw a dark, humanoid figure standing at the far end of the bridge. It did not move, but its presence felt impossibly heavy, as though it was studying them, memorizing their fear. Eventually, the car started, but by the time they reached the other side, the figure had vanished without a trace. Not everyone was lucky. In the early 1980s, a lone trucker attempting to deliver goods before sunrise reported that his headlights dimmed suddenly as he neared the bridge. He stepped out, expecting to find an obstruction, but instead he heard a faint, urgent voice calling his name, though no one was in sight. He later confessed to local authorities that he could feel a cold hand on his shoulder before running to his vehicle. Stories like this multiplied, often verified by multiple witnesses who never met each other. Journalists who tried to document the bridge's reputation found old reports missing or misfiled in county archives, suggesting that something, or someone, wanted these events hidden from the public eye. By the 1990s, thrill-seekers began testing the bridge, driving across at night with cameras and recording devices. Footage often showed sudden engine failures, cameras shutting down, and inexplicable shadows flitting across the beams. One group claimed to hear whispering voices not only in the bridge's vicinity, but also in their cars after leaving the area, voices repeating names of friends who had crossed the bridge years before. Paranormal investigators would later classify the bridge as a hotspot, citing electromagnetic anomalies and chilling sensations reported in every survey. Local families had adapted their own rituals to avoid the bridge's wrath. Farmers would leave protective talismans near the bridge's entrance. Teenagers passing through on bikes carried charms or recited prayers. Schoolchildren were told stories to ensure they never lingered near it after dark. Even emergency crews adjusted routes, and police officers rarely patrolled the area at night, citing inexplicable vehicle failures and reports of strange figures that could not be accounted for. Legends grew darker when a few daring souls vanished entirely. A young man attempting to prove he was brave enough to cross alone reportedly disappeared mid-bridge one October night. His car was later found abandoned on the far side, doors unlocked, engine cold, and not a single trace of him remained. Investigators combed the surrounding forest for days, finding nothing but fallen leaves and the faint impression of footprints leading into the dense woods, and never coming back. These unexplained events only reinforced the fear and elevated the bridge from a site of tragedy to a symbol of dread, a place where reality and nightmare intertwined. Even today, the bridge is a warning, a story passed down through generations. Locals claim that if you drive across it after midnight, your car may stall, strange shadows may appear, and voices from the past may call your name. GPS maps still mark it, but most will not approach it after dark. The bridge has become a living relic of Ohio folklore, embodying a collective fear that grows stronger with every retelling. Those who have crossed at night swear the fear lingers long after leaving, embedding itself in dreams and memories. Despite skepticism, the stories endure because too many people have felt the same inexplicable terror. The bridge does not merely exist, it waits, patient, for the next traveler who doubts the warnings, turning curiosity into a peril that haunts the imagination of anyone who hears its tale. And so the bridge waits silently in the Ohio night, its shadows stretching endlessly, daring anyone to cross. Those who ignore the warnings often vanish, leaving only fear to mark their passing.